this. The word is liberty. That's what made the country great, and that's what we're losing, and that's why we're not so great anymore, and that's why there's a revolution going on. But I'm sure glad the revolution has arrived in our country because it is spreading. It's an intellectual revolution, and it's not going to be stopped. And you know, an idea whose time has come, it cannot be stopped by armies or any government. So we're really on a roll now as far as presenting our case and actually doing very well in the effort to accumulate delegates. You know the name of the game. You know, sometimes they get confused on the voting and counting the votes, but so far right now they're admitting that we are in second place with delegate count. And there's a lot more counting to do, so the effort is going to continue, and it's so important. But this has been going on for a long time. I've been talking about our problems for a good while. Matter of fact, when I got involved in politics in the 1970s, I was trying to head off some of these problems. But lo and behold, the government continued to grow. If you looked at the size of government, and since I've been involved, you'd have to say I've run into a very good job, because the government keeps growing. But where we're making inroads is with you. And I tell the people wherever I go that the people are waking up. Washington is still sound asleep, so we better let them hear our message. Our country was started on a good note, never perfect, never perfect. We had a great constitution. It had its shortcomings. They gave us a republic, but quite frankly, I do not believe we live in a republic anymore. And what we have, though, is we have the tradition of the rule of law, the tradition of the republic, and we have the enthusiasm for it, but we have a long way to go to restore the republic. And that means that we have to deal with the many problems that have come about for very precise reasons. I believe that most of the reason, if not all the reason, why we're in this political and economic mess is we have sent too many, or allowed too many to go to Washington who either didn't read or didn't understand and didn't take their oath of office seriously like they should. But at least about 100 years ago, things changed rather drastically. There were the seeds were planted for the inevitable growth of big government, and that was, things like the 16th Amendment was very big. And of course, we should repeal the 16th Amendment because we have a natural, God-given right to our lives and our liberties, and we ought to have the right to keep the fruits of our labors. Jefferson lost the argument that the federal government should be able to borrow money. He believed they shouldn't even be permitted to borrow money. So he lost that argument. They started borrowing money. But not until the 20th century did they borrow money wholesale. And of course, taxes started, taxing us wholesale. There was a limit to that because there is a point where it's point of no return before you tax less revenues and the angry the people become. So we had these taxes that were limited, and the borrowing was limited because if we continued to borrow, the interest rates would go up. So of course, in that same year, they gave us the IRS and the income tax. They gave us that very onerous thing called the Federal Reserve that we need to abolish. That was a guarantee that we would not have to pay today audit of the Federal Reserve. But history shows that once governments have the power to create money, they do. And what does that mean? That means the government grows, and when the government grows, your liberties are undermined. And that means personal liberties are undermined, economic liberties are undermined, and nations that grow like that end up doing way too much overseas. They have this obligation, authority, and power to police the world. And so when we have our revolution, when it comes about, you'll know it's here when our troops come home. The other night I argued that they weren't listening to my moral and my constitutional arguments for not starting another war and bringing the troops home. But there's an economic argument that they must listen to because it's a powerful argument. It's great nations who overextend themselves overseas inevitably go bankrupt, and we're in the middle of the declaration of our bankruptcy now, and that is why there's such turmoil around the world, because we have been issuing the universal currency, the reserve currency of the world. So we have to face up to that. You know, I just saw a statistic just recently that showed that the amount of debt per individual in this country is greater than the amount of debt per individual in Greece. So that tells you how serious it is, but there's still a bit of trust in the dollars. We still print the money, they still take it overseas, and there's a lot of monetary mischief, and the central banks collude, and everybody has a stake in it because those who hold our dollars, even the Chinese, they're holding trillions of dollars. They have a stake at it because if there's a run on the dollar, they all suffer. But the market is more powerful than all governments. That is why the Bretton Woods, which was predicted to break down in 1971, that was the end of the gold standard. Because they didn't obey the rules of the gold standard, they kept printing the money. So the money supply grew and grew. They attacked the dollar, and finally that system broke apart. Of course, that was the year I got interested in politics because I thought that would definitely usher in an age, a bigger age of big government. And this is what we had for 40 years. And for 40 years, we had a dollar bubble, a bond bubble, living beyond our means, a government that has not stopped growing, overextending ourselves overseas, and obviously attacking our civil liberties at home, at the same time undermining the productive capacity of this country. We are not a productive nation. We're living on borrowed money. We still have apparent wealth around the country, but it doesn't match up with the debt that we've accumulated. So if the Keynesian liberal economists are right, they believe that all you have to do is spend money, don't save money, spend money, borrow money, and print money, and you get yourself out of recession or depression. So it's obvious that it doesn't work, and there's a great sense of going on like this between those of us who believe in sound money and free markets and individual liberty, minding our own business, a sensible foreign policy, and those who believe we're supposed to be the policemen of the world and deficits don't matter and welfare states will last forever. I believe we can win this argument, and we'll win it soon. Wherever I go, the crowds come out, and the people know, the people discover exactly what's going on, and in Washington they put you down, and they think that they have to take care of you from cradle to grave, and all they're doing is giving you debt and a burden. I'll tell you where they're not waking up. In Washington, they're still sound asleep. They don't hear from us yet. That is our job, to hear from us and let them get the message what we need in this country, and that's more liberty. You know, one thing that inevitably occurs as government grows, you can't grow government